Hello, everyone, and good morning. It is 7 a.m. Good morning, everyone. Hello, John Henry Soto here. Hope you're having a good morning. Just want to check something out very quickly here. Testing 1, 2. Yes, everything is actually active. All right. Last time I didn't check my mic, and my wife and I, our show, were using the mic from the camera, and it was like, so anyway, we did the whole show that way, so it's kind of annoying. Not last night, but the week before our show that we do. All right, so today I thought it'd be interesting to talk about something that happened to me. Um, it's happened. It's actually happened to me a lot of times throughout my life without me really realizing why it was happening to me. But it was about positivity and um, being positive. I had a natural I have a natural high to life. I don't I don't know why. I was blessed with that, whatever that thing is. Um, Growing up in the Bronx, in the South Bronx, I just always had a positive outlook, no matter how bad things were, and things got bad. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't a perfect upbringing. I had love in the house, which was really the foundation, the main thing, but the elements of success, those things that you needed to kind of be successful, were not right outside my door. It was outside my door were a lot of bad directions and bad decisions you can make, and uh, bad characters. Not bad characters, but just characters that were in pain themselves and doing things they shouldn't be doing. And uh, but I always had something in my brain, in my mind, that was a hopeful thing. Like I just knew that I wasn't going to end up uh, on drugs. Like I knew that early on. I knew that I wasn't going to end up drinking alcohol a lot or smoking cigarettes. I just knew those things didn't didn't make didn't seem to be a thing that made others happy. So I see other people. Hey, Mary, thank you. Thanks for following over here. I appreciate it. I appreciate you a lot. Um, so I knew that those things that were happening just outside my door were not things that I should be really going towards. Just innately, instinctively, I just kind of knew that I shouldn't be doing that. Um, and you know, even though there were days and moments, and even today, where things sometimes get a little bit too hard, and mistakes are made, and frustration, and I have bad days and good days just like anyone else. For the most part, overall, my overall attitude towards life and things has always been pretty positive. And it seems that it pisses some people off. So I don't know why, but I've received personal messages, like private messages from people, asking me to, why do I always have to push so much positivity? Not everyone is doing great, as if I'm like doing so fantastic. And I mean, I'm doing good. I'm not complaining about things, but I certainly want more out of my life. Top of the morning to you. Thank you. I certainly do want more out of my life, and I want to help others as well. So, but I do get messages inquiring why, and can I please stop? You know. So I thought to myself, I was like, maybe I'm just being overbearing to some, and I'm maybe I'm pushing something that I shouldn't be pushing so hard on. The positivity thing, or I started a page with my good friend Frank, um, called the I Love Bayonne page. Right now, Frank and I are not from Bayonne, but we loved Bayonne. We do. We love Bayonne. We love the people here. They're really nice people and stuff. And but I lived in Sunnyside, Queens, and I loved Sunnyside, Queens because it's where I lived. And I loved the people that were there. I didn't do a lot there because I didn't have the things were a little bit different back then, right? Doing a lot of other different projects. I wasn't even really doing film in 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 Sunnyside. I started there, but I didn't really pursue. My daughter was born there, so it was a different kind of thing what was going on over there. But I loved it there too. You know, I loved when I lived on the Upper West Side in New York City, in Manhattan. I loved when I lived in East Harlem. It was a little bit different. It wasn't that great, but I did love it when I was there living with a roommate before I met my wife. There was a diner on the corner called Delightful. It's not there anymore, unfortunately, but it was a little diner, and I would go there almost every single day and write because I used to grab a little notebook of mine and just write either songs or thoughts or poems or story ideas, whatever it was. And I would go to this little diner, and I loved that it was just a few blocks from my house. I think like 2 or 3 blocks from my house. It was right coming home from work. I would just get off and go right into the little diner, sit down, have a cup of coffee. I got to meet everybody there. Everybody was pretty cool. There was this really, really beautiful, beautiful girl there. She was married, but and whatever. But I enjoyed going to this one location, all the time. So I even loved East Harlem, and I explored East Harlem. I went to the old music stores in East Harlem. I saw where Tito Puente and all these great Latin artists, because it's Spanish Harlem, right? Bought a lot of their stuff. It's this famous music store that's right there on 116th Street. Um, and so I went and I visited this shop, and I took guitar lessons, even though I was already somewhat established. I could play, but you always learning, right? But I took a lessons from Pepe Castillo, who is he played an instrument called the cuatro. Cuatro is a small little guitar that has a bunch of strings in it. I don't know how to play the cuatro, but he played this instrument, and he was also played with Joe Motoro, which was a very famous cuatro player, Puerto Rican guy, and grew up in the Bronx, or he lived in the Bronx. I don't think he grew up in the Bronx, but he lived in the Bronx. And I didn't get to meet him, but I got to play and be given a lesson by Pepe Castillo. A few lessons. I went to him quite a few times, and so I explored East Harlem. So my point on mentioning this, and with Sunnyside, when I lived in Queens, in Sunnyside, Queens, I reached out to the newspapers and I wrote articles for the local newspaper, which is called the Woodside Herald, which I have somewhere. And I wrote articles for them based on New York or on whatever I was thinking about, and I would send it in. And the editor loved my articles, and she printed them. She printed about 4 or 5 of my articles. So I was constantly writing for them, and I kept sending them things. They didn't print everything, but they printed quite a more than I thought. And so I really enjoyed the community. I enjoyed, and it's because my personality is that I just enjoy where I currently am. I'm in Bayonne right now, and this is where I enjoy. That's why we created the I Love Bayonne page. It has almost 2,500 members there. There's a lot of activity on it. There's a lot of good value on it. People that are on the page can get what's happening in town. Not that there's a lot happening. Last year was a little bit slow, obviously, but this year things are picking up again. So there's more events happening, and so that positivity was really, really where what made this page possible, and everything else. you know so I was thinking back about someone telling me, why don't I just tone it down? Why don't I just chill out and stop being so freaking positive all the time? And I thought to myself, I wonder if they have a point. I wonder if there's another way, another angle where I don't sound like Mr. Hey guys, let's get things happening. I wonder if there's something that I can do, Um, and I thought to myself, well, then what would I do in that space? That was my thought. And I was in the kitchen when I was thinking about this. I thought to myself, well, maybe if I have another approach, where it's not so positive, what would I do then? And I thought to myself, well, then it would be something that's not positive. So then what am I doing? Replacing positive for something negative, or for something controversial, or for something that's not going to be of any value to anyone. And then that's when I decided. I said, the question for today was, um, should you always be positive, or should you not always be positive, right? More or less, it's what I was asking on my on the question on today's show. And I came up with the idea that, or with the viewpoint that positivity is something that you always constantly need. You always need to be positive. You always need to have a better outlook on today for tomorrow. You have to have a more clear understanding on what you yourself are responsible for, and how you can actually be better tomorrow. And those things you cannot get rid of. And that is positivity. Now, if you want to share that with others, you have every right to share that with others. Sometimes I'll read some posts that some people will write, and they're just really negative things. I've read people people's posts writing about their spouses, like a negative thing about their spouse. They're currently married to them, and they would write this negative thing about right on there so everybody could see it. And I thought to myself, wow, I would never do something like that, about my wife. No matter what we were going through, if we were going through a tough time, and we have gone through tough times, we've actually now been clearing things up. But when things were really tough, I never thought to myself, let me communicate this to the world and post it on Facebook or whatever. And I thought, no, I think I'm on the right track. I think that those that are um, not satisfied with how I'm communicating positivity, or they think that I'm doing, I think they're unhappy. I think the problem lies within them, because when you think about it, they can easily delete me, right, or block me, or do whatever they do on Facebook. And I've unfriended a bunch of people for their negative stuff. It goes both ways, right? You can, if you want to, if you want to delete someone because they're too positive, you have to start looking at yourself and start thinking to yourself, wait, this guy is just talking about positive things. Why do I hate his freaking guts? So that's where that's the conclusion that I drew. Let me see. Mary says here, you're not a negative person, by the way. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. It's not worth to be negative and pissed all the time. Life is too short. That's right. Amen to that. Amen to that. Um, that's right. I mean, we're in these bodies for not a very long time. So for me, it's respect the body, respect those around you. Try to do something, try to be positive about something, try to learn new things. I try to learn something every single day, and it doesn't always happen, but every single day I try to figure out, okay, what am I going to learn today? And I usually have my book here, and I'll have jot things down, and it's either maybe learning about a new uh, guitar pedal, or learning about a film that I didn't know about, or a performance, or an actor, or something that I just have to kind of go in and figure out what is really going to happen. So I have been sending out these booklets. I actually, Mary, I sent you one. I don't know if you received it yet. But I sent out the Way to Happiness booklets to. I've been sending them out um, religiously. It's not really a religious book, actually, per se. It's a book. It's basically a common sense guide to better living. And the precepts that I went over, which was 21 precepts that I went over um, on this show, 21 episodes, where I went over each precept that's in here. Yeah, I sent it last week, actually. So maybe the snowstorm or whatever slowed it down. I know my friend in New York got it because I sent both of yours at the same time. Um, I think it was on. When was the snowstorm? The last snowstorm. When the first day? I think it was on that Thursday or the Friday. I might have sent it on that Friday. So anyway, if anybody's out there and you're interested in one of these booklets, I do have some still available while supplies last. Just send me an email, and the email will be at here. Send it to johnhenrysoto at protonmail.com. And in the title, write, because I get a lot of emails, so I got to make sure I find it. Write Way to Happiness booklet. So this is what it looks like. It's got green on it, so you can see right through it, through my green screen. But yeah, so this is actually a really great book, and it's something you just carry around, and it gives you direction, or and it has everything that I read in the big book, and it has some things in here that are important, and I think this is the one that really applies to today. Set a good example. When you're positive, you do set a good example for those that maybe not directly see you. Um, yeah, let me know when you get it. Okay, Mary, let me know when you get it. I definitely want to make sure you get that. But yeah, so it sets a good example for others when you're positive. That's kind of like the key element to this too. It's there's another bonus. You may be positive over here, and that person over there is looking at you. Maybe you don't even know them, but they're saying to themselves, "Oh, this guy's pretty positive." And their viewpoint might change on something. Maybe they'll decide, you know what, maybe I should start looking at things a little bit differently, or maybe I should start loving myself more and not caring what others think. Whatever it is that I'm spewing out at that time, I think it's a valuable way to be. Um, in the next couple of weeks, I'll be talking more about a subject that I know a little bit about, but not experienced it, which is weird, right? But it's drugs. I know about it because of I grew up in an environment where there was a lot of drugs. Um, I've never done any drugs. I've never smoked a cigarette. Never smoked any weed. I drank alcohol. I still drink every once in a while. I haven't had any alcohol. I think I had one drink last year. I had some wine, but um, so I'm not really a drinker per se, but I enjoy a little glass of wine every once in a while. But the drugs are really destroying millions of lives every single year, and there's certain things that people should know about them, like what it is, and what how you can help someone that has drugs, or how do you know someone is even heading down the wrong path. And so I have another booklet, right? I got all I'm full of booklets here, but this is another booklet called "The Truth About Drugs," and this is a something I can send out. I don't have many of these, but I can get more if the demand is high. And it talks about why do people take drugs. It talks about their you know issues and problems and whatever, and then it goes into the specific types of drugs and what the short-term effect and the long-term effect of these drugs are. And it hits a lot of different types of drugs: inhalants, heroin, um, LSD, prescription drug abuse, because that's a big deal. Also, that's really big now too. Doctors sometimes are the biggest drug dealers that we have, unfortunately. Not to say that all drugs are bad. Some drugs help in certain areas, um, but drug abuse can come in a lot of different forms. So anyway, I have that available as well that I could send to you, and you can hand to somebody. You can also go to drug. You can go to drugfreeworld.org, and you can get a lot of information there. So anyway, these are my two. These are my two things that I really promote a lot: the way to happiness, the truth about drugs, and you'll be hearing more about that in the future. Obviously, every show is not going to be about that, but I'm also going to talk about film. I'm also going to talk about just positive things to that you can look for in your during your day. on your commute. Maybe your commute sometimes is the most stressful part of your day. Well, maybe there's something that you can do on that commute that can give you some positivity or some joy. Maybe listening to a good audiobook, or listening to some new music that you haven't heard before, or listen to a podcast that you haven't heard before, or look for in recommendations on something. There's a lot of things you can do to actually just put a little bit of energy, positive energy, into your commute or into your space, when you're feeling that you're like, not feeling too good. So it's a lot going on in the world, folks. I'm having a pretty good year so far. I did get cast in one project, short film, which I actually have to study, and I got to record a couple of scenes and send it to a director for some direction. During these COVID times, that's how we do it, right? So, working on some music stuff as well, working on my other platforms. I will be doing this show on these platforms only for one more week, and starting next week, I will still be going into. I will still be doing this, but it won't be on the Facebook pages. It'll be only on one Facebook page, which is my fan page. My I don't like to call it a fan page. I don't know what it's called. My business page. It's a John Henry Soto page, but it'll only be on that platform and nowhere else. Um, and that's where I'll be putting that. And of course, you can also catch it on YouTube and on Twitch, which I'm on Twitch a lot these days, because that's a really a fast growing platform where you can say anything, and not no censorship. So, but yes, this will be the last week, uh, and then I'll be on only on that one page. If you want to join that page, if you have any questions, you can again you can always email me at John Henry Soto at Proton Mail, and I will let you know where you can go see the show and where you could. And I haven't decided fully if it's only going to be on there. I don't know yet, but I think that's where it's going to be. Final announcement is that I do have another project, believe it or not, another show, right? That I'm actually going to be doing with my cousin, who I played in a band with for many years. We recorded 3 albums together, and we had a great time. And this is a little promo. It's called Counterparts. His name is George Batista Jr., and we're going to be on every Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the basic premise is music, Star Trek, and Bob Ross. Bob Ross was a famous painter from the PBS program. Star Trek, well, obviously, it's Star Trek. We're just fanatics about Star Trek, and of course, music. We're both musicians and have been musicians for many years and played in bands. So we're going to be breaking down a lot of these topics and having interesting conversations with all of y'all. And that'll be every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. And that should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be because we also have like this crazy comedic sensibility. It's not always appropriate, but you know, um, don't let your children. It's not for young listeners. Not that I'm going to go crazy on it, but we're just going to be pretty much just have conversations. I won't go into detail on the show, but um, yes, Mary, I got your message. Thank you very much. I will find time today. Today, they moved my daughter's homeschooling from Friday because of the snowstorm. They moved it to today. So today I'm gonna be have to bring my daughter. I have to go out now. I have to go to shopping because I got to buy some food for them for their lunches because I didn't buy enough stuff. So I'm gonna go out. I got to buy lunch stuff for them. Then I got to come back, prepare it. I got to wake them up, get them dressed, get them out to the school, and I'll be there till about 3 o'clock today. And try to get my son up because he was up in the middle of the night. So I don't know how that's going to be. But thank you, Mary, for yeah. I hope you can watch. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I guess for you it'll be 7 p.m. right because you're central. Um, but yeah, that's gonna be fun. But anyway, that's what I'm doing today, Mary. So I will definitely reach out to you as soon as I get home. Um, but we can always text. So just text me. All right, folks. Thank you very much for tuning in. I appreciate y'all very, very much. You always this is one of those things where I try to bring some laughs and some coffee and some positivity to your day, but it definitely provides that and much much more to my day. And I appreciate you all for being part of it. So thank you all. God bless you. I'll see you all tomorrow morning. And as always,